let's just go ahead and have a let's just have a little bit of a nice, simple, civilized chat about the insanity of the past week. As we all know, a total wackadoo murdered some Jews in a synagogue. Don Lemon, who's got a pointy head and no hair, so pointy head Don Lemon, it's got basically a lemon-shaped head. So I'll just call him Lemonhead from now on. Don Lemonhead. He goes on live CNN and says, and I think this is fairly close to his quote, is we need to stop demonizing people and realize that white men are the problem, often radicalized to the right. And there's no white guy travel ban. Rarely do you see someone be that hypocritical in the same sentence. It was truly a thing to behold when I saw the clips. And so what I'd like to say about that is clearly he doesn't think of white men as people. Because he regards white guys as a threat, as a terroristic threat. And no one thinks that Arab men are a terroristic threat. They think that Muslim men from particular sects of Islam that happen to thrive in particular geographical regions, such as Saudi Arabia, Yemen, and Qatar, have a tendency to be, slightly threatening. It's like it's a logical, rational position to hold, and it's not in any way racially motivated at all. It's just looking at where these attackers tend to come from and saying, okay, these countries here seem to have quite the problem as we have come to understand, and coming up with a list of these places and saying, okay, we're going to be very, very vigilant about the people coming from these places, and until we can actually get a some kind of, oh boy, I am big drumming. Until we can get some kind of viable vetting system in place, then we're just going to say, okay, no travel from these places until such time as we can actually get a handle on things. Obviously, we have to be able to know who's traveling to our country from these very obviously unstable regions, because we don't want to be importing instability from other places. It's really obvious. We can be generous to Don Lemonhead and say, yeah, we have real problems in our own country, and so if we're going to go with Don Lemonhead and say that there's a problem with white guys in this country, then why on earth would we import the problems of other countries when we've got plenty of problems of our own to deal with? Like, why can't we just go ahead and deal with the Jew-hating wackadoos in our own country and not import the Jew-hating wackadoos from another country? That doesn't make any sense to me whatever. That doesn't make any sense to me at all. That's absolutely insane to me. Clowned Piven strategy. I don't know what that is. Flowered Piven. I still don't know what that is. Yeah, autocorrect is not very nice. It is a lady of ill repute. Overwhelming the welfare state to destroy a country. Oh, I didn't know that had a name, Sarge. Okay. I didn't know that had a name. That helps, actually. That helps quite a bit. So Brianna Wu is running for Congress in Massachusetts, House of Representatives. She's that Depression Quest person who did lots of unsavory things with journalists during Gamergate. And now she's going around saying that she's famous for standing up to the alt-right before the alt-right was a thing, apparently. But, Gamergate and alt-right, those are just the boogeymen of the mainstream media, and everyone should just be afraid of them because reasons. Even though the alt-right is like 30 people, and Gamergate was a consumer revolt against journalists calling them names. So, I mean, yeah, those are really scary. I mean, well, Gamergate is actually scary too if you're a mainstream journalist, because it shows the power of the people to actually affect you and your bottom line by not taking your nonsense anymore. The Gamergate episode of Law and Order is an example of media stupidity that should be enshrined in museums. The thing is, she's running for Congress, and she's put out an ad talking about medicinal marijuana and how she suffers from PTSD, but now that she smokes weed and has a dependency on weed to manage PTSD that she got from Twitter, that means that she is a good candidate for Congress for some reason. But I don't think that saying, hey, I have a dependency on this substance in order to manage a mental disorder that I got from Twitter, I don't think that means you're a good leader. In fact, I think that means you're a terrible leader. And of course, let's not forget the fact that Brianna Wu thinks that you can destroy cities by throwing rocks from the moon. And so I don't want to talk about Brianna Wu anymore because Brianna Wu is insufferably stupid. Oh no, not silly. Terrible, atrocious, absolutely stomach-churningly reprehensible is the treatment being dealt out to the internet company called Gab. But there's this thing going around where NGOs, chief among them the Southern Poverty Law Center, saying that businesses need to change their TOS in order to stop the horrible, reprehensible hate speech, to stop the spread of hate across the interwebs. But, it's a couple of problems with that. The first one comes to mind is who gets to decide what's hate? And I guess the Southern Poverty Law Center gets to decide what's hate. And we all know how good they are. Is they call Kekistan white supremacy when everyone knows that it's green supremacy. The Southern Poverty Law Center is apparently going to be the arbiter of what you can and can't say online. And it's not just like Twitter, Facebook, YouTube that they want to change their TOS. They want PayPal, Stripe, GoDaddy, other domain registrars, web hosting companies, major infrastructure and payment processors to go by these so-called terms of service that will allow the far left to dictate who does and does not get to make use of vital infrastructure online. They're going to start going after Infowars.com. They've already gone after Gab because here's the thing, the wackadoo, right, the murdering guy, as I called him on Monday, the murdering guy, he has a Facebook page. But you don't see anyone calling for Facebook to get pulled offline. I imagine he posted his Jew hatred quite prolifically on Facebook as well, but no one's calling for the censorship of Facebook. However, Gab just has to get stricken from the internet because reasons, I guess. Because reasons. Because hate speech. Because Nazis. Because, well, right. Because, ooh, ghosts, I guess. Well, I guess. Because ghosts. We all just need to be very, very afraid of alt-right Nazis and ghosts and the KKK, all 12 of them. We need to be very, very afraid of them. So afraid that we can't even let them speak because their hatred might infect the impressionable youth. So the left has undisputed control over Hollywood, the schools, newspapers, and the mainstream in general. Oh, and the music industry as well. And here's something really interesting. Despite all of that influence, they fear they fear just the tiniest amount of freedom. Just the ability of their horrifying alt-right Nazis being able to speak on a platform that in general people only go to after they've been banned from the mainstream platforms. They fear it. Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's right. That's right. The Unaboomer also had a Facebook page. Ah. The thing is people send each other death threats and other threats to assault each other online all the time. Most of the time, it's just bans. Most of the time, people don't really actually care, and it really does turn my stomach. I'm still just really quite irritated over it. Whenever an insane person sends you a text saying that they're sorry, you should just nope right out of that. I don't like dealing with insane people who might stab you. And one more thing that happened with Gap that really just absolutely blows my mind is they came up with a statement. They wrote like a little article about the synagogue massacre. It was all like very basically, we disavow all terrorism, we disavow all of the stuff. We are just an open platform. Anyone can come on and say anything that they want as long as it's legal under U.S. law. We will not take action against it. Blah de blah de blah. And they post this on Medium, right? And then Medium just bans them like that. And they can't even point to anything in the article that was a violation of their terms of service. I guess it's just Andrew Torba isn't allowed to be a person online because he's too Alex Jonesy, I guess. I don't know. Maybe he knows too much about the number 12. They can't let him speak about the significance of the number 12, or else very bad things will happen. So the first person they came for, Andrew England, the guy from the Daily Stupid. Sorry, I mean Daily Stormer. That's because it was very hard to defend a literal neo-Nazi, right? Only complete morons are convinced by the Daily Stupid. And besides, he's a filthy socialist, and filthy socialists always lose arguments against actual freedom lovers, just like that filthy socialist, what's his name? He got punched. Started the whole punching Nazi hashtag. Richard Spencer, yeah. He's also a filthy socialist. He lost handily to Styx Hexenhammer, who managed to destroy him on the Andy Gorski show. It was quite glorious, and I don't even like internet blood sports. And, IBS happens to stand for something else. Fair. Actually, this goes back to the terms of service thing. Is apparently the document points out that private companies are not regulated by the First Amendment. Is there anything else really to talk about tonight? I don't think so. I'll make sure that I don't expose myself to anything that will hurt me. Second most pathetic campaign I've ever borne witness to in my entire life. Second only to you can destroy cities with rocks from the moon, Brianna Wu. If Beto the Beta runs for president, I would be highly amused by that bungling campaign. That would be the best thing ever, in my opinion. Never forget that socialism always ends in starvation and genocide. They call Kekistan white supremacy when everyone knows that it's green supremacy. Green supremacy.